Crash across America.
Continuing on Against the Grain at WTPL, the Pulse of New Hampshire, 107.7, coming back with a band from Boston, the Zulus. Oh yes, 866-823-1077. Man, those guys were the best. But I'll talk to you about them some other time. We have business to conduct here with some people who've been traveling long, traveling hard with Bureaucrash, bureaucrash.com. This is a group of free marketeers, sort of like the Three Musketeers, going out there. There are a lot more of them though. And golly, you know, there are all these young folks. Well, yeah, I'm still on that side, I guess. So I'm one of the team of people who's trying to assault the leftist ideology. And here with us is Jason Talley, who's very familiar to a lot of folks from Bureaucrash for a long time. He's been working with them. We just spoke with Janet. Janet, what is your last name, by the way?
Oh, Nielsen.
Janet Nielsen. And Tom is here as well. Tom, what's your last name?
Pearson.
Tom Pearson. And Tom is, where are you from?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama. And she's from Canada. Jason lives down near D.C. They've all come together because they want to try to fight against those who would take your property and regulate your life and attenuate your liberty. And we just talked a little bit about how they went to one of these screenings where Michael Moore's Sicko was being shown, the red carpet thrown out for Michael Moore, starting to educate people about what is not being seen in Michael Moore's films. But there are a lot of films that are out there that propagandize people, one of them being Al Gore's film. We won't even mention the name of it. But we'll get to that in a second. Tom, tell us about this trip that Bureaucrash has been doing.
Well, Crash Across America.
What's that?
Crash Across America, 2007. We kicked off the trip in Orono, Ontario at the Liberty Summer Seminar. It was the 7th annual Liberty Summer Seminar, put on by the Institute for Liberal Studies up there in Canada. Liberal meaning, you know, classically liberal.
Classical liberalism, exactly, where people were allowed to do what they wanted as long as they didn't harm someone else directly.
Exactly, exactly. And there were a host of speakers there and a band, Lindy of Major Maker. If you've not heard of them, you should check them out.
Very good.
And Mark Emery spoke, and several other Canadian freedom fighters spoke there as well. So if you're ever up there, it's every August in Orono, Ontario.
Nice. It sounds like a good time in August too. It's a great time to go up there. You know, temperature's probably beautiful, and boy, it's a little different than if you're up there in like January, I guess.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. Oh man. So now with Bureaucrash, I know that Bureaucrash is connected now with the Competitive Enterprise Institute, which is really good to see that happening. You come to the state of New Hampshire. New Hampshire has changed a lot, and yet we're still in flux. We see New Hampshire turning into one of these blue state things, you know, voting more for state regulation. We were able to stop a smoking ban last year, but now they have imposed this regulation on private property owners that they can't allow smoking in there. It just squeaked by, and I think that that's really bad, besides the fact that it is a complete infringement on the state constitution, which actually only allows the government to regulate companies that are monopolistic or collusively pricing. They can read it. It's Section 2, Article 83. Regular businesses, they're not even supposed to be touched by the state government. It's very, very clear. Going around, what sort of responses have you been getting from people, Tom?
Well, we were at the North American Leader Summit yesterday, and we spoke to a lot of pretty confused people out there, and some, you know, they had some valid points, and but mostly they were just, like one guy even told us that prosperity is not the solution to poverty. And I was like, well, if that's not the solution to poverty, then I don't know what is.
And it's amazing how backwards the thinking is of some people. They think that government can somehow help everybody, and the only way that it can help one person is by harming another person. And by harming that one person, they do more damage than help, because that one individual would have made more efficient choices with his money. They are, by their nature, taking his money against his will and putting it into a less productive outlet for his money, which he would not have chosen in the first place. And a great example is this ethanol idiocy. They want to make sure they're imposing both in regulation and in subsidies. They are taking people's money or their time and redirecting it away from where they would normally invest it and bring it into ethanol production, which is a net energy loser, costs more to get energy out of it than more to put into it than what you get out of it. And yet we have all these politicians who are pushing all this stuff, as you know, Tom. Let's talk about one of them, Al Gore. Al Gore is out there with his film, and Bureaucrash has taken him on. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what Bureaucrash has done with Al Gore? And in fact, let's hand it over to Jason right now. Jason can tell us a little bit about that. Jason?
Well, what we were able to do is, I guess everybody knows about the Live Earth concerts. There were 7 of them in every continent, and
A lot of boring bands, too.
yeah, they suck.
They
I tell
did.
you, man. And so, yeah, I had to sit through all of them. It was
Oh.
painful, but anyway, I digress. And so, anyway, so they had, all these young people that filled the stadiums and stuff like that. It's actually only halfway full. It wasn't even all that popular. The ratings were abysmal,
That's right.
which was good to see as well.
Yeah.
And so, what I did with the team, another team of 5 crashers, in our backpacks we had beach balls that were deflated. So we went into the stadium, inflated them. They looked like the globe,
Mhm.
and they said on them, "Demand debate. I'm more concerned about the intellectual climate." And so we filled them up, and then we threw like 100 of them into the audience, and so all day you saw them be back and forth. They appeared on the stage at times, on the television cameras,
That's
and
great.
stuff like that. We had T-shirts we gave out. There was even a plane that flew overhead that said, demanddebate.com on there. So,
That's
we
great.
wanted to use, once again, use their spotlights, their microphone, to show that there's another point of view. Not every young person is a raving communist.
Right, and that's so essential too, because anybody who's going through college knows the cauldron they enter. It's such a pressure cooker where you have leftist tenured professors, they'll mark you down. I got marked down in my comparative revolutions class because I talked about how Castro was bad. And this guy was a Marxist, and I thought, oh, well, this is really helping me out in my GPA. So that's going to bring me down from, summa cum laude to cum laude or something like that at BU. But what can you do? You got to stick up for what you want. And there are young people out there, and I like it because in those instances, you can't throw out tons of statistics. You can only offer up the opportunity to say, hey, there's something else out there. Check it out. Here's where you go.
That's exactly right.
It's excellent. Bureaucrash.com is the website, folks. I hope you'll check it out. And remember their t-shirts, just absolutely fantastic, especially if you're from the state of New Hampshire. The Liberty or Death shirt is absolutely wonderful. And the Competitive Enterprise Institute has picked up these folks, a very smart move, and I want to compliment CEI as well. We've had numerous people on from CEI on our other installments of the program. Before we have to go, Jason, I just want to mention that on the global warming issue, you've done other things. For example, inflating balloons at some of these global warming things so that the balloons you knew would eventually
right.
drop at a certain point because you only put a certain amount of helium in.
Right.
Genius
Thank
stuff.
you.
So as people are there chanting and doing all these things, all of a sudden these balloons start floating in front of them with these messages on them. Just really, really brilliant. We're up against the clock. I hear the Chambers brothers getting psychedelicized. Thanks a lot, Jason, Janet, Tom, everybody.
Great.
Yeah, you guys keep up the good work. Audience, thank you so much to all of you. Remember, libertyconspiracy.com. We'll tell you about our next web poll coming up. That one has to do with immigration. Check it out, libertyconspiracy.com. Coming up, Jack Heath. It is New Hampshire Today, and then at 5 o'clock, WMUR News. Take care, and as the prisoner says, be seeing you.